I got a call from patrol last night, a sextortion case. And when the deputy I was talking to finishes it, I'm like, what you just said is textbook from all the other patrol calls I've been getting, where kids talking on a specific platform like Roblox, talking with somebody, and then that suspect moves them to a different platform, a little bit more private like Instagram or Telegram, and then ask them to send photos. The kid does, inappropriate photos. And then they say, hey, if you don't send me, this is what's weird, money or gift cards or more pictures, I'm gonna send the pictures that you sent me already to all of your friends and family.
Welcome to the Powerhouse Podcast, presented to you by Sac Life TV.
Hi, this is Topo Padilla, and I want to thank my family at Greg Padilla Bail Bonds for sponsoring the Powerhouse Podcast. We are always involved in the community, so if you ever find yourself in need of calling a bail bonds, you can call us at 446-BOND or find us at PadillaBailBonds.com. Sac Life TV and the Powerhouse Podcast want to thank Mosley Collins for his unwavering support of our podcast that keeps people informed. If you ever need legal help, call Mosley Collins Law at 444-4444. That's all fours for legal help. Welcome to the Powerhouse Podcast, where we discuss an array of subjects related to our community, our state, and our country. We hope you can come away from this podcast with information and insight that will help you as we go about our lives in this great country. Today, I have a very special guest, Detective Christie Hirota from the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department. And today we're specifically going to talk about information that should go out to parents, grandparents, or anybody who has children around them. And that is the internet crimes against children. For those of you, again, who have children, please focus in, pay attention to this, share this. You can share this on any platform. Get it out there. The more we do, hopefully we can save some lives. While you may think, I know my child has a phone or a smartphone, and they may think of everything that is going on in your child's world. Often we don't. And that's what we're going to try and share with you. Detective Hirota is going to do that. She's been with the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department for 24 years. Yes, and she could go do a lot of things in this department. This is something she's become very passionate about. And believe me, when you hear what she has to say, you're going to understand why she does what she does. So thank you so very, very much for being here. Again, one of the things that people may not understand is how this law enforcement community we have in this region works together. You're on a task force. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, and thank you so much for having me, because I cannot get this information out enough, and I'm always wanting to figure out how do we get this stuff out. So thanks so much for having me. Back in 1998, Congress did a legislation which enacted the task force. ICAC is what we call it, Internet Crimes Against Children. And so that came about so that every single state has a task force. And a couple of them have, have 2 or 3 task force. California's got 5. And so each task force is represented by a law enforcement agency. So Sacramento Sheriff's Office, we are the hub. So in California, we've got 5 task force. Sacramento Sheriff's Office covers all the way up to the Oregon border down to like the Stockton area. So we get cyber tips from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and the ones with the missing kids on the cartons. Mm-hmm. And so because they had that in place, they went ahead and started doing child exploitation. So that's part of what they do as well. So every electronic service provider is supposed to report to them if they come across child exploitation images or conversations. And if they don't, they're supposed to get fined. But Google, Snapchat, all of them report to them. And then they figure out geographically where this cyber tip is, and they send it to the appropriate law enforcement agency. So we get them. We're like the clearinghouse, and then we ship them off to all the different agencies that we work with. So obviously, we are also duly sworn as U.S. Marshals so that we can do federal cases here in the Eastern District. So it's either with our FBI or HSI counterparts. So we do federal cases and we do local cases. So we work with Department of Justice, California, the feds, and then all of our local agencies.
Wow, that's amazing. We had our acting U.S. Marshal, Alicia Boyden. She was one of my guests, and love our Alicia. She does a great job. Well, that's what people don't understand, maybe, that these task forces, they're out there and their eyes are in the sky. So as much as this for all those people I talked about in the beginning, it's for you who want to go out here and prey on our children, to prey on minors, even to prey on 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds, anybody. If you want to use the internet to do that, these guys have eyes in the skies, and they're going to come after you. And yes, they have cooperative efforts for everyone. So I really want to nail that home.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's the thing is the reason we have the task force is so that we can all deconflict information and assist each other. So we go up to the North area and help those agencies that don't really know how to do these types of cases. And so, we do about 2 to 3, sometimes 4 search warrants a week. Our team does. And our team, when we're there, it's Sacramento Sheriff, it's the Sacramento Police, Folsom Police Department, San Joaquin County. We have every agency that go to these search warrants with us, and we're like a well-oiled wheel. We just do our thing because unfortunately, we do them so many times. And so we work all the time with these different agencies so that we can all talk about the new trends because things are changing as well.
Yeah, and programs obviously Facebook, Snapchat, and those things. There's some programs out there that parents might not even know that are on phones. So I want to talk about the devices. Everybody, every kid has a smartphone. My gosh, they have to have one. Computers, I think they might be going away a little bit, but they do. They have these things and these programs that are out there that people are creating so people can perpetrate these crimes. Can you talk about some of those programs?
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because a recent article just came out about Snapchat because they got sued because the algorithms and the way that they're making it so that, kids are getting addicted. So pretty much parents ask me all the time, which platforms are dangerous? And I tell them every single platform could be dangerous. We want to make the internet a positive experience for children, but every single app has that potential. Roblox, Pinterest. I've had cyber tips on Pinterest and LinkedIn. You wouldn't even think that, but we get those cyber tips. And how do we get those cyber tips? People from the community report it, or, like you said, we're watching. People look at different things that they're posting, the algorithms, hash values. It's a little bit more technical. So we are watching and knowing what people are doing. They think they're being, secretive, but they're not. I'm
logging in incognito. I'm going to get around it, right? Because you can do that. And I've had people mention Google. Google's not the say-all, be-end-all. Those programs, I pray to God you guys can pierce those and get people that are trying to, we don't want to dig too far in the weeds, but using, they can hide their IP addresses and stuff like that.
They think they can.
I love it.
So, for example, we actually do cases on the dark web. So that's like the place where everybody thinks, oh, there's no way I'm going to get caught on there. So no, we do cases on the dark web. We do, obviously, patrol cases. That's the big thing is parents will call and be like, hey, I'm going through my kid's phone. I just saw that they're talking to somebody they shouldn't be talking to. And then we do undercover chats operations. If you go to the Sac Sheriff website, you will see we've got a couple little documentary videos that we did with our operations. And we do that because we want to go out there and find people who have an unnatural interest in children, and we want to catch them before they go and meet children. So, yeah. And when I'm talking, earlier you were talking about it, people used to call it child pornography, but now we call it child sexual abuse material. Because if you think of pornography, it's more like something that's willingly, like like adults, like they're something that they're wanting to do. But whereas these images are of children, and this is essentially the crime scenes. And when I say children, I'm not talking about age difficult. I'm talking about infants, toddlers, and prepubescent children. Those are the cyber tips that we get. And they're not just pictures, but they're videos of these children. So that's our other goal, is to be able to locate and rescue those children from those situations.
And I've seen cases where you guys have gotten the same person once,
yes,
twice.
I was just going to say, like they because you know why? It's like an unnatural interest. It's a wiring in your brain. We've gone to lots of conferences, and there's, people that we listen to, Michael Sullivan, for example, and they talk about it's just the wiring in your brain. So it's not like you can really go out there and fix this problem. So we do get repeat offenders. Yeah,
you said that, and when they caught the East Area rapist, whose name I won't mention, the Golden State rapist, I was with a group of law enforcement deputies. We were up at Lake Davis, up there for the sheriff's department camp. And I said, man, how could that guy have been a cop? How could he have done this? I just don't understand how he went about his day every day. And one of the older detectives told me, they said, Topo, their brains are wired different. Mm-hmm. And that's what it even took me, a guy who's been involved in the criminal justice system for 42 years. Well, back then it wasn't 42 years, but I was like, Oh, I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the crazy thing is, you think you might know who these suspects are, right? They could be anybody. Unfortunately, I'm ruined now because it could be anybody. So over the course of my career, I've arrested teachers, nurses, EMTs, firemen, state workers, and they're just like normal, everyday people.
I want to pause for a minute and say to you, to all the law enforcement who've seen these crimes against children, these horrific murders. I mean, the list could go on. I pray that you can decompress and let that go out of your mind at the end of the day in your career. It gets me kind of emotional just looking at you right now, knowing what you've seen, knowing what you've heard. Mm-hmm. And like you said, the people it's not some guy living in a van down by the river. It could be just anybody. So, parents, what to look for. I mean, again, that could be an hour and a half.
It sure can.
This class, I've been to classes where they talk about that. But are there any particular programs out there right now? I remember they had that one that it looked like camera or pictures, and you clicked on it, and you had to have a password, and it was actually bad chat or something behind it. I can't remember what it was called.
Like a calculator?
Yes, that's what it was.
Oh, yeah.
Calculator. Sorry, wasn't pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It functions just like a regular calculator, but it's a lock for photographs. But that's the thing is there's so many apps out there, we just can't keep track of them. So like if you get a call from patrol, you're like, I don't know what that is. We have to research it. But, with parents, and I learned this because my daughter's 14, and she literally has grown up with me doing this job her entire life. So for me having to navigate this myself, you really do need to communicate with your kids. And I know that people are like, oh, I don't have time. I've got football. I've got sports. But this is a really important thing. There's a thing called Jenna Quinn law. She was a victim of this, what we're talking about today. And the law makes it so that every school in a particular state has to have this type of training for kids, like regular curriculum. And other states have adopted it. So hopefully at some point California will adopt it because really we need something like that.
Are you kidding me? We don't have a law like that here. Mm-hmm. They want to teach. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. They want to teach this. They want to teach that. They want to have books in the library that show things that you and I know both disgusting. You're kidding me. We can't get a law passed like that in California that this needs to be taught.
And that's why maybe by having this discussion today, we can, because that's one of the things I want to do, is we need to get that going because, kids are killing themselves because of stuff that are going on. And it's so prevalent. I got a call from patrol last night, a sextortion case. And when the deputy I was talking to finishes it, I'm like, what you just said is textbook from all the other patrol calls I've been getting, where kids talking on a specific platform like Roblox, talking with somebody, and then that suspect moves them to a different platform, a little bit more private like Instagram or Telegram, and then ask them to send photos. The kid does, inappropriate photos. And then they say, hey, if you don't send me, this is what's weird, money or gift cards or more pictures, I'm going to send the pictures that you sent me already to all of your friends and family. And so for these kids, mind you, and these are like 12, 11, 10, 9-year-olds. These is happening to. And of course, they're thinking, oh my God. So they get their gift card, give it to the suspect, and of course they don't go away. They continue to continue. And so I just really want to get the word out to the parents and kids that, the first thing is don't talk to people you don't know. Wow. I know it's hard because you're playing games and that's kind of how life is, but you just really shouldn't be talking to people you don't know because people pretend to be somebody else. Oh, I'm talking to another 12-year-old. No, because those are photos they collected from somebody else and they're using it against you. And then some of these kids just think the world's going to fall apart. So in San Jose recently, I think it was last year or the year before, a student athlete, academics really good, he got extorted and he killed himself. Wow. And so if you Google that suicide in San Jose, you'll be able to see that story. And that was like one of the first cases where the suspects were out of the country and we were able to extradite them back to Los Angeles because a lot of these suspects are in other countries.
That's what people got to know. So I'm going to say two things. Number one, parents, this will be a podcast you could and should share with your your kids. I saw the other day, I was somewhere and saw somebody, little kid was crying, and the mom goes, here, hands the iPhone like a pacifier.
Yep.
So it's that. But there are lawmakers, or if you know a lawmaker, it just has to be taught
Yes.
in our schools. You've blown me away with that.
No, it is so crazy because parents just give their phone to their kid. I get it. I mean, you and I didn't grow up with these devices, and so we are all literally the guinea pigs in learning how to maneuver this. And so it is so important that parents, from little all the way up to as they're growing up, is they just need to educate them age appropriately. So when they're little, like in when they're 4 or 5, just tell them, hey, you don't talk to people you don't know. Don't take pictures of anything and send them out. But you don't tell them it's sexual pictures. Just get in the habit of not sending pictures out. And then as they just get older, you just need to make it age appropriate and just talk to them about it. And you need to go through your kid's phone.
Yeah.
And you need to go through every single app, because I had a kid on Pinterest communicating with somebody else because I was like, oh, my parents are going to check my Pinterest. We're going to go to the obvious. We're going to go to Snapchat and text messages. So literally, I go through every single app on that phone of my daughter's and check everything to see what they're doing. So really, you have to make it a priority. I get it. I'm super busy. We're all busy with work, but you have to make it a priority at least once a month, go through their devices and good old-fashioned manual check and see what they're doing.
Wow. I want to tell you a secret. Why can't we create a program you could put on your kid's phone and it would scan for that and it would alert you as a parent? I shouldn't say that out loud. No, I'm not joking around. I'm dead serious. Why hasn't somebody created such a program we could put on the phone and it would alert us?
Well, it's funny you say that because there are programs out there.
Darn it. I just lost
So
that.
I know, now you're not going to be rich.
I wouldn't want to get rich off of something like that, but really, truly, is there programs like that?
Yes.
Okay,
and
what are they?
Our department doesn't endorse any of them, but if you easily go and Google monitoring apps for your children's devices, you will find a laundry list of them. And I pretty much have them all, and I have little blurbs about them, but I'm always researching to find, because I'm trying to find a really good one. So what you're looking for is you're wanting to find an app that monitors, obviously, the text messages. And what it does is it monitors things like search terms, so sexual words, violence, drugs, alcohol, suicide ideation, self-harm. So when those words pop up, it'll alert you. And so some of them have them pre-populated, and then some you can add other words in there. And then you want to look for skin tone. There's some that scan the phone for skin tone. So if you obviously see a lot of skin tone, that means there's a picture of them nude.
So it does exist. Why isn't this known? Why am I sitting here this long? Oh my gosh.
I know.
It exists.
Yes.
This should be a public service message on every channel every day that these things exist.
Absolutely. And one of the countries, I forgot which one it was now, they just banned children from having social media because they know.
It was Australia.
Yeah, was it? Okay. It is. And that's like how huge of an impact these devices are having on our children, on their mental health, on everything else. So,
oh my gosh.
But some of these monitoring apps are really very interesting. They're really nice. They have like a nice platform for you to go on there, and they're easy to look at. And of course, you want to simple things that you can do without the monitoring apps is, make sure that you're not letting your kids just download any app that they want, that they have to get the permission from you.
So you can go on an iPhone or a smartphone or an Android, and you can put in there, they cannot download an app or in Google, it's called a Google Play Store.
Yes.
Anything. It'll have to notify you before they can do it?
Yes, because I have friends, we're sitting at brunch, and they're like, oh, I got to text you, and then you just push, yes or no.
Wow.
Okay. If you want your child's mental health to not be destroyed for the rest of their life, you really do need to look at these apps.
So, you just said something that is so true. I say it often, I pull the phone up, this is the destruction of our world.
Yes.
It is the truth. as much as it's so convenient, we'd have been better off with flip phones. Our world would have been a better place. There'd still be a lot of children that would be alive today.
Yes.
Because cyberbullying, what we've been talking about today, it does mess with the mental health of children. I've gotten caught up where I'm sitting there looking at something. I'm like, gosh, look at all the fun these people are having.
Yep.
They're doing this, doing that. And everybody says, I'm always on vacation. I see people, I'm like, gosh, wow, look at all they're doing. Yep. So that's messing with my mental health if I see somebody having more vacations than me. So I'm so glad you talked about these programs because even I didn't know.
It's funny. I'm sorry. I didn't hear.
Go.
No, I just think it's funny that you said that because I was just at brunch with some girlfriends this weekend, and one of them's like, I had to delete my TikTok off of my device because I caught myself being on there too long. So if you think about we're adults and we're addicted to phones, you go down these rabbit holes. Just imagine these little kids whose brains are not formed in the front and what it's doing to their brains. And so there's a show which you can go online, look for. It's called Screen Agers, where they talk about the effects of devices on kids' brains. And so they did like a brain scan of kids with using devices, and then they took the devices away from the kid for a month, and they showed their brain scan. And you could just see all of this stuff just going on with these kids. And their brains are not forming properly. And we won't know this because we're in the middle of dealing with this, so we're not going to see the huge effects till, slightly now, but then as time progresses.
We talk about addictions. I always thought alcohol and or drugs were the most addictive thing there was. And I was corrected by a mental health expert. Gambling is more addictive. I don't know if you know that, than substances gambling is. However, I truly, truly think these things are more addictive than gambling, drugs, and everything because I, too, have found myself, you go sit in a doctor's office and everybody's on their phone. You can't just sit there and have a conversation or look at our highlight book. Remember the highlight books?
Yes.
You can't look at our highlight book anymore and find what's different in each picture. And again, this isn't a laughing matter, but again, for your detectives that do this, lately I just watched the other day a coach and then the next day a teacher. And it's like, are you kidding me? I mean, but these people are getting in those positions to fulfill their addiction, their fantasy, their sick mind.
Yeah, and it's really sad that it's come to that. So and a lot of them are in that position, and then it's all the same fact patterns. They start grooming children, and so you just have to be able as a parent. So part of that conversation that you have with your kids about not talking to people you don't know on the internet, don't send those photos. Just let them know that personally, with themselves, just never let anybody touch you. And if something happens, feel free to come and talk to me about it. But you as a parent have to watch that. Is this coach taking your kid on special trips? They shouldn't do that. Is this coach giving them gift cards? I've had that happen recently. And was friending them on social media. Things like that should not be happening. It should be like more of a group thing. So unfortunately, we just have to be careful.
Just to tell you how far this goes, I mean, I coached youth sports and coached my son for a long time. Would never, ever give another kid a ride home unless my son or other kids were in the car. And then when it came to my daughter, I remember waiting in the parking lot till 7:30 at night. And my daughter's like, I got homework, I got this. I go, I don't care, we're not going anywhere because this parent was allegedly on their way. They'd have a phone. And we waited because I'm not going to transport a child in my car. And you guys, I mean, maybe people don't know, as a law enforcement officer, when you transport a prisoner from the streets, you call it in the time you're leaving, and when you get to the jail.
Miles, beginning and ending miles, yes.
Beginning and ending miles, because we have to have that transparency that, nothing happened between here and there. So where can people find more information about this task force and maybe tools that they can employ in their homes? Yeah,
so if you go to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, that is where the cyber tip line is. So parents can go there and report if they want to. And don't think if you go report something that it's going to take 6 months to get to us. They're on top of it. So if they feel like it's something that's an emergency, they will call us directly on the phone saying, hey, I'm going to send over this cyber tip so that we can have you take care of it. But on there are resources that parents can look at in terms of educating their kids, or you as a parent know these are some things that you need to do. And so it's called NetSmarts, and NetSmarts is very age appropriate. So if you go there, there's different age groups. So because we don't want to introduce stuff to third graders that we would be talking to high schoolers about. So it's all age appropriate. So if you're a coach or a Girl Scout leader or something, that you can go and get these and look at them and talk to them about your kids. But we have the Sac Valley High Tech Crimes Task Force that I belong to. That website, we have a bunch of links that you can go and click, and it'll take you. There's a bazillion, you wouldn't believe it. There's a bazillion sites out there, Common Sense Media, Thorn, that they just give you advice on what you should do as a parent. But the simple things, I keep telling parents is talk to your children. You have to do that. And let your kids know that if they do something dumb, because we all do, that you will be there for them. Because what happens is we call parents, say, hey, I just got this picture of your kid from this guy in Sacramento. And we want to make sure that, you know this, and they don't think it's their child. And so we want to make sure that we let the parents know that you have to look at their phones.
Yeah.
And go through it.
Yeah, and don't just take the phone away. You just said something, and we're closing in on time, but you're not going to be in trouble. We're here for you.
Yes,
right.
And that's what.
Tell them.
Yes. So what I was getting at was that when we call these parents, they're like yelling at their kids in the background, but we're trying to tell them, like, no, you can't do that because you need to be open. Okay, they can deal with the consequences of whatever dumb thing they did, but you really need to be open to them because you want them to be able to come back to you if they do something dumb, so that way they don't end up going and killing themselves.
Well, to all the people in this task force, not only here across this country, for what you're doing, and Detective Hirota, what you've done today, again, I wish we'd have done this in our first show and we would replay this. I hope and pray that those of you watching or listening will share this, get it out. This is not a self-promotion. I don't make any money for doing this. This is about sharing information, helping people save lives, the mental health of our state. So God bless you and thank you for what you do and all the men and women that you work with, and to our sheriff and to our U.S. Marshal and our government and to our lawmakers. Get a law passed. Make it part of the curriculum that needs to be taught in our schools, our elementary schools, and our high schools, and even in college. That's a priority, not a lot of this other rhetoric. Thank you so much for being here and sharing the information you have done. God bless you. Again, I hate to repeat myself. No. God bless you for what you do.
I appreciate it.
And I hope and pray that, when you go home, you get to turn it off. And I just thank you so much. I just can't thank you enough.
I thank you so much for, being able to talk about this because it's so important. And, we can talk for hours and hours about this. Well,
we're going to do it again. So thank you for tuning into the Powerhouse Podcast. We hope this is a pretty deep subject, but thank you so much for being here. And we'll tune in next time. Hi, this is Topo Padilla, and I want to thank my family at Greg Padilla Bail Bonds for sponsoring the Powerhouse Podcast. We are always involved in the community, so if you ever find yourself in need of calling a bail bonds, you can call us at 446-BOND or find us at PadillaBailBonds.com. Sac Life TV and the Powerhouse Podcast want to thank Mosley Collins for his unwavering support of our podcast that keeps people informed. If you ever need legal help, call Mosley Collins Law at 444-4444. That's all fours for legal help. Well, thanks for tuning in to the Powerhouse Podcast, where we bring you fair and balanced discussions on the issues shaping our community. We welcome your input, opposing viewpoints, and guest recommendations because every voice matters. Have a topic or a guest in mind? Email us at php@saclife.tv.